Welcome to the Modestly Magnificent podcast, the website for dreamers who take action. On this podcast, we interview people transitioning into new careers in the tech field. We learn about how they prepare their life for the transition, what courses they may take, how they stay motivated when faced with adversity, and the job searching process. Join me, your host, Tamara Buchanan, as we follow them along on their journey. So, welcome to the very first episode of the Modestly Magnificent podcast. And our series is kicking off with talking about pivoting into tech. And our first guest, the first, the best, right? The first guest, Matthew Jimenez. And he is currently a fellow with the Data Science for All Empowerment Program. So let's get started. Let's jump in and get to know Matthew and find out all about his life story so we can all be inspired about his journey into tech. Okay, hey Matthew, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm Tamara. We are both fellows in the program, and I basically reached out in our Slack group to see who was interested on being interviewed. I didn't think anyone would respond, but thankfully a few people did, and I'm so happy to talk to you and find out more about you. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
So, as you so graciously introduced me, my name is Matthew Jimenez. I am a 32-year-old father of two beautiful kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Basically, I went into the program wanting to expand my field. I'm already in the IT field. So right now I'm a service desk administrator. I basically work for a company. Not very many people have heard it, but it is, slowly becoming popular. It's in competition with Tesla and most of the other vehicle competitions. It's called Rivian.
Okay.
They are producing a SUV as well as a truck that is electrical, just all electrical. Yes,
okay.
And it's very amazing. It's more for the outdoorsy types people. Or if not, just something casual for the SUV, because I've seen it and I was hooked. As soon as I saw it, I was hooked.
Yeah.
But coming from a background of being in IT for so long, you start kind of having that burnout feeling. And very few people experience that and kind of like dumb it down for themselves. Like, well, I might as well just do the grunt work stuff instead of doing the higher end things. But for myself, I've always been the go-getter. Like, you know what? Even if I have burnout, I'm gonna keep trying to reach for something else. I gotta be the jack of all trades. The saying does go, jack of all trades, master of all, master of none, master of none, master of one. So therefore, I wanted to try my hand at data science. So. The story actually began when I was on TikTok scrolling through, and I know very, very few people will actually tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
But when I was scrolling through, I saw Matt Upham's channel. That's the name of the guy that kind of like was throwing this out and like ideas. Yeah, Matt Upham. U-A-M.
Okay.
And he was just basically advertising a little bit on his channel, and I kind of paid it no mind, but I still added him. And he had posted something where I just commented on. I was like, "Oh, hey, I love your work. I sent you an ad and blah blah blah." And he asked for my backstory. I told him what was going on with my life, what was going on with my situation, and he's like, "You know what? This is the perfect program for you." He recommended DS4A. As soon as I went in, I was like, "You know what? What do I have to lose? I want to learn coding. I want to learn whatever it is." And as soon as I saw the acceptance letter a few weeks to a month down the line, I was like, wait, I got into a school?
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Wow.
Holy cow. So it was awesome. And here we are, as part of one of the fellows too. I mean, you can understand it's a huge, huge vision that it gives you, like, wow, so this is the kind of stuff that programming can get you more into, but can throw you into an even deeper mix of things.
Yes. Wow, your story is awesome. And I'm glad you are holding it down, just like me, for the 30-somethings. Getting into coding, breaking into tech, yes. And I actually, similarly, learned about DS4A on Instagram.
Oh,
Yeah. So shout
yeah,
out to whoever's running their social media
shout
because
out.
yeah, I found out on Instagram. I thought it was a scam. It sounded way too good to be true. All for free. Yeah. So I'm glad you made it in. I'm glad I made it in too. It's been it's been very difficult for me, I should say. And I think we have about 4 weeks left, but
Pretty
I'm
much.
really enjoying it.
As am I. As am I. It's a whole new perspective of having to get back into that scholastic mindset.
Right.
For some of us, it's been so long that we've been in school or we've been in college, I should say, now, and it's getting back into that same motion. Like, all right, I have a class once a week. I have homework assignments. I have my day to day things, and then if you work a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, whatever the
Mm,
job role is like you still have to worry about that. So it's like, oh,
yeah.
great, So you have to categorize. It's just it causes a lot of brain function to go, what?
Yes. Tell me a little bit about your coding experience or Python experience before joining the program.
So I have a very peculiar way of doing my learning sessions when it comes to coding because before all this, it was always like, okay, I gotta find the cheapest way of getting free coding, programs. YouTube, all right, let's look up YouTube videos. Let's look up Udemy classes. There's always
Mm,
people posting,
yeah.
oh, here's a free coupon code for
Yeah.
Python and automate the boring stuff and things of that nature. So I was like, all right, cool, let's try it. But when it's like pre-recorded items, there's not much interaction. You kind of just get distracted.
Right.
So that's how it was for me. So I started with when I was first learning and wanting to code was through uh, Code Academy, and I was doing that just on and off. And I was doing Ruby on Rails, I was doing Python, I was doing a little bit of SQL, and then I was doing um, what was the other one? HTML. HTML. So
Okay.
that was like web design. So I was dabbling in everything, but I ended up getting so confused in all the coding process that I just,
Mhm.
threw my hands up, gave up. I said, whatever.
Yeah.
But now being part of this program, it was a different, window of opportunity that I took, and so far, I mean, it's been awesome. I'm just saying, being an IT person, just a little
Mhm.
side secret, inside industry secret.
Yeah.
Be an IT admin or any type of IT position. It's just a glorified Google position,
Mm, okay.
glorified Google search, I should say,
Okay.
because that's what most of it is. But it does kind of help you narrow down your searches when it's like, why is my code not working? And if
Right.
some of the applications that we use, like I use Google Colab, it gives you a link. Say, hey, here's Stack Overflow. That takes you to the search engine for that, and then boom, it gives you what your error is and
Yeah.
what it is that you need to do in order to fix the error. So it kind of helps out a lot.
Mhm.
So that's where my journey was. Before this, it's just like bouncing back and forth. Now during the
Right.
program, it's like it's more finite. It's like more straightforward and having to actually stay in that same ground.
Right. And I've heard that a lot and even experienced the same thing with jumping around from different free tools, free tutorials, free programs, free meetups, and those sort of things. And now we're in this program that's very structured and the classwork that we get, it's a lot. Like for us to only have class once a week for 8 hours, you definitely have to be on top of your studying throughout the week. How is it going for you? How are your classes going? How's your group project going?
For that, I mean, I can say for a group project, it's going well.
Mhm.
We have a few people here and there that we don't argue, we don't fight like your traditional like group projects. We're like, no, this and that, and there's a side A, side B, and then all of a sudden there's a side C to the group, and no, it's none of that. It's we're very upfront about our discussions. We're like, hey, look, this is what we saw, this is what we found, and what do you guys think? Like we first throw the idea out, and then each of us take a piece out. We go, okay, well, this. You know what? Let's just dig that out and put these two pieces back in. Blah blah blah. Here, go. So it's very structured, and
Mhm.
and I like that. And I've dealt with the whole. I'm just gonna sit in the background, and once everybody's done with the project, I'll take the credit for it.
Yeah.
I am not that person. I was, especially now with this whole coding process, I wanted to be more involved.
Right.
As for the classwork, it is difficult, mind you, difficult to balance the project work, the classwork, and then find out some of the deadlines are on the same day for the same stuff. So project
Yes.
work and classwork, and then you have some homework assignments are due before the project, so you're like
Yes.
scrambling to do the homework. It's a lot to manage,
Hmm.
and as exactly how you put it, it's a lot to take in, especially for just one single day. For I think it's like a whole 8 hours roughly.
Hmm.
Roughly,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like a whole day. It's like literally just sitting in a single classroom with a bunch of your peers, and you literally have to be there to pay attention to everything.
Right.
And the one thing that I am so graciously appreciative of is that all our lessons are pre-recorded regardless, or
Yes.
recorded
Yes.
along, so the interactions are still kind of like still fresh, still very organic, but at the same time, it's like it gives you the lesson plan, it gives you the introduction, and the fact that everything's in a project book or a Jupyter notebook, it's
Yes.
awesome. It works
Yes.
out so well.
Yes. And for a program to be free, I have to keep echoing that it's free.
Very
We
free.
we have so much information. Like even the supplementary classes on like advanced Excel and the guest speakers, the access to the TAs, like we have so many tools like in our little toolkit that they're helping us to build. To help us succeed. Like I really love that about the program. It's like definitely setting us up to succeed and like push us out into the data science world. I don't know, I'm just really grateful to be able to get in. When you look at your work week, you have a lot going on, your father, full-time job. When do you study?
So ironically, since most of the work period, there's really not much to work on. So if I work on a specific ticket or whatnot, I kind of find the balance in between to where I'll have, since I have dual monitors, I have two screens, so I have that attention kind of spread out. I'll have my main work screen here in front of me, and I'll have my classwork or schoolwork, anything that I need to on my other screen, but through a web browser. I won't
Okay.
have it on my desktop that I'm on right now, but I'll have it on the work laptop. And then when it's something that needs to be more energy driven and has to be more focused, then that's when I switch just one screen for work and one screen for the desktop, for a personal desktop, and then that's where I'm balancing both at the same time, which is not difficult. It's just I have to kind of offset it. But it's mainly during my work hours. I'll take maybe 10, 15 minutes, look at the assignment, go back to work,
Okay.
notes, work on a ticket, and then all of a sudden I'll switch back to my screen. Okay, cool. So what else is part of the assignment? Okay, so that's part of the prerequisite. Okay, that's what I need to do. Let me look back at this lesson plan, and then that's half an hour, and
Mhm.
then I switch back and I do work. So it's kind
Okay.
of like that method where you do a little bit of work, you take a break, you do a little bit of work, you take a break,
Mm.
do a little bit of work. So that same stepping process, I do it, but it's more like do a little bit of work, but then I do different work, and then I do another
Okay.
bit of work. So it's kind of a stack on stack thing,
Okay.
but in the end, I do most of the studying after 5 p.m.
Mhm.
Or if not, if like say I have my kids, but I only have them during the weekends because the mother and I are kind of co-parenting at the moment.
Mhm.
Um, she has them throughout the week, so that
Mhm.
gives me plenty of time to study, work on the projects, do my own personal life
Okay.
stuff. But during the weekends, when I have them during class time, it's I have the lessons on the phone, I
Yeah.
have earpods in,
Yeah.
and it's all right. 8 a.m. It's 8 a.m. I'm still in my lesson plan. The kids are barely waking up. All right, it's half an hour in breakfast.
Mhm.
Sit them down. You guys eat. Make a mess. I don't care. I'll clean it, and then just let them play. Clean up the mess while I'm still listening to the plan, but I'm also on my laptop. So it's a very I want to say it's a very generous amount of attention that I have to aggregate accordingly in
Yeah.
order to kind of make sure, okay, so